Alrighty hosses, welcome back, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use some of the default text styling that's built right into Bootstrap. Now, actually I'll write all of them and I'll just stick them all on one page, so then when you go to my GitHub page you can just copy whatever you want, and I don't know, I think it'll be easier than breaking them down into a bunch of files. But the first one I want to show you guys is highlighting. So I'll say you can highlight words or text using the mark tags. Now anytime you want to highlight a certain chunk of text, then you just use this element right here, mark. So mark, and I hate when it does that. It auto-completes when I don't want it to auto-complete, and whenever I do, it doesn't pop up. Now this actually might be a little hard to see since it's going to highlight it in yellow. Let me run this and check it out. So I don't know if you guys can see this on YouTube, but this chunk right here, it has a yellow tint. If you can't, then trust me, it's a lot easier to see whenever you're looking at it in person. So that's highlighting. Another cool thing is using quotes. So if I use block quote, inside here, say that we were quoting someone Y, such as my grandpa. So my grandpa said, "Sometimes I wet the bed on purpose." He did tell me that. I'm not lying. And for the footer, we can just, quote him or attribute him. So my grandpa. So now whenever you run this, so this gives us the appearance of a quote by adding a little indentation and also this line on the left, and also the size and coloring and this little dash. It did it all for us, made it super easy. Now another thing that I use a lot is a list. So let me give it a header actually. What can we make a list of? Maybe things to do when you're bored. Let me actually give myself a little bit more space. I like to be able to scroll a little bit. Alright, so what are we going to do when we're bored? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a list, DL. Now, I actually break this up into indoors and outdoors. So what can you do indoors? Well, let me indent this. Well, the first thing that you can do is take a nap. Don't want to put too much effort in this. You definitely don't want to work or do anything productive. And what else can you do when you're bored inside? Watch Netflix for 8 hours. By the way, Orange is the New Black came out on Netflix today, season number 3. So, goodbye weekend. That's what I'm going to be doing. Alright, now let me just add one more list, and I'll say outdoors. I'll show you guys how cool this looks. So DD, what can you do when you're bored and you're outdoors? You can go back inside, because you shouldn't be outdoors doing any physical activity. You should be inside playing on the computer. And this is what a list looks like. Pretty sweet. Check it out. Alright, now let's see what else we got. Whenever you're doing code, for example, you want to do some syntax highlighting. I don't know, maybe you're trying to make the next big GitHub, or maybe you're making some documentation for an API. You have a couple different options that you can do. So I'll say that I was writing some documentation for a tutorial. To set the user's weight, set user weight. What's my weight? 374 pounds. And I'll say with an integer. Alright, so whenever you're going to use code, then what you should do is you should use the code tags right there. Now if I just highlight this and drag the code you want to highlight in and run it, this is what you get. And I know you've seen these on a bunch of different sites before. Let me actually add a semicolon to that. I don't know why, it just bothered me. So the default code styling is this light pink background, and it uses monospace font, and the text is like dark pink. But whenever someone sees this, they realize that this is source code, so that's one option that you can use. Now another thing I want to point out is this. The code tags, they aren't really good for multi-line code. So if you ever have more than one line or like more than, a little chunk of text, then you probably want to use the pre-tags. So let me just say multi-line code, use the pre-tags. Alright, so inside here, hold on, the freaking cord for my headphones like getting all tangled up in me. So for n in range 101, I'll just write some Python real quick. Then, I don't know, what condition can we make? If n modulus 4 is 0, then we'll just do like print n. Again, this code doesn't mean anything at all, and you don't need semicolons in Python, so check it out. So as you can see, we have some pre-formatted text, and the reason that this is spaced so far to the left is because this is spaced so far to the left and it just reads it directly. But if you highlight it all, and if you hold shift and tab, I don't know if you guys knew this, but that means reverse tab or take away the tabs. So, that's not a real, Bootstrap related bit of information, but it's pretty handy. So again, this is much easier to read than this right here. So for a little snippet, use the code tags. For multi-line code, use the pre-tags, and this stands for pre-formatted text. Now, one other thing I want to mention that is kind of code related. There's another thing that you're going to see, and it's called KBD. This stands for keyboard input. Now, I really don't like this because I think it just looks stupid, but this is supposed to be keyboard input. So for example, if you are saying like giving instructions to a user and they're supposed to do something like hold down Control Alt Delete, then you can stick them inside the KBD tag. So Control plus Alt plus Delete, or some kind of code or whatever. Now if we run this, then it kind of looks like the code tags in the sense that it's monospace code, but I don't know. I don't really see this that often. Apparently a black background and white text is supposed to resemble keyboard input for some reason. You can just use the code tags. That's probably what I would do, but follow your heart. Now the last couple of things I want to mention are this, two little elements. Whenever you use Bootstrap, it comes with predefined contextual colors. Now these are just colors that are used for, let's say whenever the user does something correctly, like fills out a form, then we probably want to show green text, since green resembles success, and whenever they mess something up or we give them an error, then we're going to have some red text. Now instead of just going out and picking these colors, Bootstrap already included the standard colors for you. So let me just add a quick heading so it might make it look a little bit easier. So I'll say built-in color classes. And whenever I stick this on my GitHub page, I'll add comments and make everything a little bit prettier so everything isn't jumbled together. But for now, I just want to show you guys some real quick examples. So the class for one of these is, let's say that, show you guys a bunch of different ones. So text muted is, think of it like disabled or like not clickable. And I'll just say text muted, and this is just going to be a light gray. So the default text is black or very close to black. This is going to be grayed out text. And I'll show you guys two other ones, even though that there are a couple more. So success, I'll say like congrats, you filled out that form correctly. And one other one is text minus danger, and this is going to be red, and we'll just say like danger text. We'll keep it real boring. Now if I run this, check it out. So without setting any colors manually, you see that, alright, that class is grayed, this one, the success one, is green, and this is red. So that way we can keep these classes on every single page without having to include any custom CSS classes. And also, these classes, they're the same for the background colors too. So in order to get a background color of, let's say, green or red, all we do instead of text is we change this to BG. So BG success means a green background, BG danger means a red background, and check it out. So, alright, so I guess it wasn't, red, it was a little bit pink, but that is what it does. So again, there are some very common text styles, in other words, typography, as some people say, and there's a lot of other text classes and different things that you can do, but now that we know the basics of it, it's time to move on to something else, and that would be tables. That's what we're going to be talking about in the next video. I'll see you then.